Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by Tri-County Logging. Experienced in sustainable forestry practices, Tri-County Logging can help you manage your property by keeping your woods healthy and generate income. Serving southern and mid-Michigan for nearly 50 years, TriCountyLogging.com. The first four-sided box call of its kind, 4-play turkey call. The patented design produces unique sounds that work well with call-shy birds. 4 different sound rails with lid movement along each rail for multiple tones. Take your calls to the next level with a 4-play turkey call. Well, hey everybody, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. Thank you so much for watching this week's show. We've got some stories from kind of all around mid-Michigan on this week's show, and all kind of geared around fishing opportunities. We're going to show you some bass fishing on the Muskegon Lake, also some bass fishing on the Grand River, and we're going to show you what it looks like to do a little trolling for crappies on this week's show as well. Make sure you stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger, and it's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan out of doors.
What a beautiful day in the woods.
Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's a love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Country Smokehouse, a sportsman's meat processor and Michigan destination since 1988. Offers a variety of homemade smoked meats and Michigan-made products in-store and online. The Country Smokehouse features an outdoor barbecue and bar. Details at countrysmokehouse.com. By Greenmark Equipment. Greenmark Equipment is a John Deere dealership network in southwest Michigan and northern Indiana. Greenmark provides sales and services to farmers, commercial businesses, large property owners, and homeowners. Information about pricing and products available can be found online at greenmarkequipment.com. By AnglerQuest Pontoons. AnglerQuest is a Michigan-based company building boats designed for comfort and fishing functionality. For more information about the 2022 models, anglerquestpontoons.com. By Polarcraft Boats, offering riveted and welded boats for the outdoor enthusiast. Whether you're targeting fish or waterfowl, Polarcraft Boats have several models to choose from that keep you high and dry. For more information, polarcraft.com.
That's what I was going to say. I had a couple of guys. Not yet.
Just last week, I was able to get out on Muskegon Lake to do some bass fishing. The 2 guys I was with have fished the college bass fishing circuits quite a bit, so I was excited to learn more about that and hopefully boat some nice fish in the process.
All right, game plan to start the morning. We're going to cover this little flat right here. It's a little drop off, goes from about maybe 3 feet down to about 5 feet. There's some fresh grass growing up down there. We're just going to throw some moving baits. I'm starting with a Strike King red eye shad, and John's throwing a chatterbait back there behind me. But with the overcast skies and the wind blowing, man, just about perfect. They should be chasing and feeding on bait fish up in here as they get ready to spawn. So hopefully it'll be pretty good.
What you got there? And the water temperature is good?
Water temperature, yeah, right now it's about perfect. We saw 59 over on the south side of the lake. It's up to about 61, 62 on this side. And back in some of the cuts, it's probably even a little bit better than that. So we may get a chance to do a little sight fishing later in the day, but we're just going to kind of take what the weather gives us and hopefully catch some fish.
Come here, sweetheart. Come here, buddy.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, sir!
Oh,
Look at the mouth on that
my goodness.
That is a tub. That is a
That may be the
tub.
biggest Muskegon Lake fish we've ever
Dude,
caught.
I know it. Man, I hooked her and I gave her a second and look how I hooked her
Holy
still.
cow.
Yeah.
She bit and I gave her
Swiped at it.
I gave her 1 second and then I just loaded up on it. I didn't set the hook or nothing.
I'm trying to come off though. So.
Look at the size of the mouth on that thing.
Yeah, that's a beautiful fish.
Wow.
That's what's in this lake, man. That's an old fish. You can tell.
Fish.
That's just look at the tail. Nice little
Jeez, what do you think that thing weighs?
4 or 5. He's got a Rapala scale, we'll tell you right now. That's what we're doing.
If that's not 5,
I know.
I'll eat my hat.
498.
We'll call it 502.
Okay, 502.
That's what 5. It's 5 even.
5 even.
Well, nice way to start the day, young fella.
Thank you. Absolute blast, man. Pre-spawner, you can tell she's full. Sitting on this flat right here. She's gonna come up and spawn right here. A male's gonna make a bed somewhere up here, and she's just sitting here staging.
What a great fish for the first one of the day. You just kind of hope that wasn't it for the day, but when fishing with guys like this that do it a lot, well, I figured we'd find a few more, and we did.
See how they're eating it? Just chuck and wind and let the rod load up, do its thing. That's a 3/8 ounce Strike King Thunder Cricket, Bizbait Killer Craw trailer. Just looks like a bluegill or a craw. Ripping out of the grass. Another largie.
Very nice. I asked John to tell us a little bit more about fishing Muskegon Lake.
So Muskegon Lake, it's a really diverse fishery. It's my personal favorite in the entire state of Michigan because you could just do so many different things. If you want to fish for smallmouth, you have it. If you want largemouth, you got it. Walleye, bass, bluegill, crappie, it's here. My favorite thing about the lake is that you can choose any technique you want and you can fish it at this lake. So today what we did was we were fishing these grass flats in about 3 to 5 feet of water, and these pre-spawn largemouth were staging up on these grass flats. And we used chatterbaits and lipless crankbaits to burn through the grass and either cause a reaction bite or they were eating it as well. And it was really fun in terms of catching numbers of fish and both quality. I think our biggest of the day was a little over 5 pounds. I believe it was the first fish of the morning, and it was a blast. You can catch 100 in a day and I won't get tired of it.
Nice.
Nice little buck bass. They just eat that thing.
Now, how do you work that along the bottom?
So this, I'm gonna let this guy go.
Yep.
This, I want this to hit the bottom because that blade. So when I bring it out there, we're only in 3 to 4 feet right now. So I'm throwing a 3/8 ounce head. But once it hits the bottom in that, I start reeling very continuously, and I just want it to collide with the grass. Once that blade collides with the grass, I start ripping it out. As soon as you rip it out, oh, as I say that, Josh just ripped it out and he's got a largemouth on it.
As soon as you're done there, Jimmy.
Before we talked college bass fishing, I had Josh tell me a little bit about high school bass fishing clubs and how they are becoming more and more popular.
So high school fishing has grown immensely over the last few years. If your school doesn't currently have a high school club, I know there are many parents or supervisors willing to help kids start a club nowadays, especially around this West Michigan area. All it takes is just a couple of kids who like to fish. You need a boat captain. Obviously, if you're under 18 years of age, you have to have a captain that drives the boat. And then West Michigan Bass and the Michigan Bass Nation do a great job with their high school trails. So it's really easy to get into. It just takes a little bit of time to get your club registered, and away you go. You can go ahead and go fish all the great trails here in Michigan. Like high school fishing, college fishing has grown a ton over the last 10 years. I actually didn't start bass fishing at all in high school. I didn't find the sport until I got to college. I joined the team at Western Michigan University and traveled all over the country fishing for Western Michigan. Western Michigan University has a very big club. Central Michigan has a great club. Schools like Grand Valley University, Ferris State University, I know Lansing Community College had a couple of teams, Michigan Tech, Michigan State and Michigan, obviously. So if you have a couple of guys who like to fish, you could start a team at just about any community college. It's really easy to start a club, really easy to get registered for the tournament. So there's really no excuse not to go and enjoy the outdoors and fish some of the great circuits like the College Bass Tour.
Perfect.
When I think about bass fishing clubs in high school or college, I guess I really didn't think much about how many great spots you get to go fish when doing those kind of circuits.
So college fishing, to me, it changed my life. I went into college fishing my freshman year, and I started my own team at a community college on the south side of Chicago in Palos Hills, Illinois. It was at Moraine Valley Community College, and I went and started my own team, and me and a couple other members traveled to what was FLW and Bassmaster tournaments around the country, and I got to see what this country had in terms of bass fishing. And I traveled from as far south as Shreveport, Louisiana, to as far north as the New York-Canadian border. it was a true blessing to be a part of it. And then once I was done at Moraine Valley Community College, I transferred to Western Michigan University, and I joined the Western Michigan bass team, and I met very good friends that I still have to this day, and I have a lot of cherished memories with Western Michigan. And I was fortunate enough to be able to compete in the College Bass Tour and MCBC, which was Michigan College Bass Circuit in the state of Michigan.
After catching quite a few in the main lake, we ran up the channel here on Muskegon Lake that leads to Lake Michigan. The guys were looking for smallies now, and while they did that, Dave Slager told me more about who can fish in the College Bass Fishing Tour.
So eligibility for these events is largely based on college teams, but it doesn't have to be that. You don't have to be on a team to be able to fish the College Bass Tour. We're taking kids from trade schools, from community colleges, all the way up to universities to be able to fish. So if anybody has questions as to how to get into this or has questions on eligibility, make sure you shoot us a line on our Facebook page or on our website. We have a link there.
It was great to fish with Josh and John and learn more about the College Bass Fishing Tour from them and Dave, who runs that league. If you're college age, they have all sorts of events this summer you may want to check out. For the rest of us, you don't have to be in a tournament setting to explore new lakes and new techniques. We have so many great fisheries around our state, so take some time this spring and summer and go explore some new water. Get out and enjoy what we as Michiganders sometimes take for granted. There are docks all over our state just waiting for you here in Michigan's Out of Doors. Well, as you can see, we had some pretty good action there doing a little bass fishing on Muskegon Lake, but one place that kind of gets overlooked when you're talking about bass fishing is the Grand River.
Last week I had the opportunity to tag along with a couple of friends for an evening float on the Grand River. It was overcast and windy, and we were hoping we could convince a few smallmouth to bite.
So we're fishing on the Grand River today, which is one of the biggest rivers in Michigan. I think it's second longest if I'm remembering right. But it's an awesome smallmouth fishery. It's got a lot of walleye, catfish, awesome steelhead runs in the Grand. Honestly, probably one of the least fish overlooked rivers. There's many miles of it you can go on an average day and maybe not even see another person. And the smallmouth fishing here is phenomenal. It's not uncommon to go out after work and have a 20-30 fish day by yourself. People like to say the average size of the fish in here isn't great, which I would kind of agree with, but the quality fish are here. You just catch a lot of small ones for every big one that you catch. But even on rivers where I catch larger fish, I don't find that I catch as many small ones, and I don't mind catching 20 small ones with some 15 to 20 inchers mixed in there. I think that's a lot more fun. Okay. A little bit better. Not what we're after yet. No, not quite. Dustin and I fish out here quite a bit. Pretty much all the stretches of the Grand, from all the way from Lansing to the lake are really good. We do a little bit of fly fishing, a little bit of spin fishing. Just kind of depends on the day how the fish are acting. And the good thing about smallmouth is smallmouth are pretty aggressive fish that will eat just about anything on the right day, but they can also be challenging on certain days, and you got to really figure out what they want too. So in my opinion, they're one of the greatest game fish in Michigan, or honestly the world. They fight harder than any fish pound for pound that I've ever caught. They're awesome. These single hooks, I started using these for trout, but I use them almost exclusively for smallmouth now too. Just causes a lot less harm to the fish, and I notice zero difference in hookup ratio. On some days I feel like they work a little bit better because you don't have 3 hooks to pull through the fish's mouth. You just got that one point, so it's actually easier. It takes less force to hook a fish if they're kind of coming up and nipping it at the back real lightly, especially. All in all, I think it works great, and it's better for the fish if you're catch and release angler. Yeah, see, that one's a lot cooler color if you look at it.
It's got really pretty marks.
The last one was really green, and this one's got more of those bars and spots to it. It's funny how different they can be.
These guys were throwing a variety of baits today, but the soft plastics were catching more fish than anything else. So I had Landon walk me through what kind of plastics he likes to use and how to set them up.
So Texas rig rubber crayfish like this is one of my favorite lures for catching both numbers and quality size smallmouth. Just get these worm hooks with the bent shank like that, and kind of the key to it is just running it in far enough where the knot and the eye of the hook are covered, and you want the back of it to be straight. You don't want it to be like bent up like that or like this. So you just push it forward slightly like that, push it straight up through, and then that hook's nice and straight there, lure's nice and straight, and then to make it weedless, you just pull that forward a little bit, and then it puts that point down in there. You got to set the hook pretty hard to get it to come out, but you get snagged up a lot less in rivers on rocks and weeds and sticks and all kinds of stuff.
As we approached the halfway point in our stretch, the fishing really started to pick up, with lots of smallmouth making their way into the raft.
He ate it right in the middle of all those carp.
Oh, he's got a real crayfish right in his throat. Oh.
Wow. Did he just swallow it? He just swallowed it. Did you see that? Yeah. Didn't even pull up anchor from catching the last fish, and we've got another nice one on. Getting a little better. Pretty one.
As we continued to make our way downriver, Landon decided to switch over to the fly rod to see if he could catch a few fish on the topwater before the sun set.
That's 2 fish. You need to roll now.
We're fishing a boogle bug right now, which is kind of a very traditional bass fly. It's got a popper lip on it, so you can pop it like a normal like hula popper, but on fly gear. And a lot of times the smallies really like that topwater action. Well, what I'll usually do is throw it out there and just let it sit real calm for a minute, and then just pop it 5-6 times, let it sit, pop it once, let it sit, kind of vary up the presentation and see what they're wanting. Sometimes they want like really aggressive pops, and some days they just want that like real nice and slow pop.
Although we never did end up catching any real big smallmouth, we boated over 20 fish in just a couple of hours, which made for a fun night on the water. Special thanks to Landon and Dustin for letting me tag along on a night of bass fishing here on the Grand River.
In our next story, we're going to show you what it's like for a grandpa to go out and do a little bit of trolling for crappies with his grandkids.
That's a semi-private lake, and it's about 11 acres, and it's really good crappie and bluegill fishing, good bass fishing, somewhat good pike fishing, and it's kind of the perfect place to go on the weekend because out front where the big lake is, a lot of skiing and tubing and ripping and tearing, and you have your wilderness experience back here. So.
And who's fishing with us today?
I got 2 grandsons. I got Evan Brand, he's from Olivet, and Danny Hagenauer from Saginaw.
Okay, and they know what to do here on this lake?
We'll find out.
We were in Montcalm County today, but it felt like the middle of the Upper Peninsula, tucked away in the middle of nowhere. This place was like a little slice of heaven with quite a few fish for a morning of trolling for some panfish.
This has been a real funny lake. It took me a long time to learn it. I don't know, the more I trolled with kids, you know, and the more tangled up we get and the more messes we had, I learned that trolling was a lot easier. The kids didn't have to cast, and the fish would always come straight up the back of the boat, so it really avoided the tangles. Kind of got the hang of it.
Gotcha. Well, Jack does have the hang of this lake after fishing it for decades. We were sorting some fish today, but there were many keepers as well.
There's a nice crappie. Get him in.
Whoa!
There's one of 11 inches.
That's a big, nice fish right there.
That's what we're after.
And get it out as well. Nice fish.
It's been probably 7 or 8 years since the last winter kill, and the crappies, you know, the oldest generation, they're right at 11 inches right now. And the bluegills, there's a lot of 9-inch bluegills in this lake.
Okay.
And I think they're on the spawning beds right now. We haven't been really catching them the last couple of weeks. And I'm pretty sure they're...
What else you got swimming in here? Is there any pike and bass in here?
Yeah, there is. I got a son that's really into catch and release on bass. Makes me feel guilty if I keep a bass. So I have a tendency not to fish them very often.
It was really just a perfect morning for fishing. Jack has taken about all of his 20-some grandkids out here quite often.
We usually have grandkid camp for a week every summer. And when we had a lot of grandkids at the right age to come to camp, we actually would split the girls up one week and the boys the next, so we'd spend a lot of time with the kids out here fishing. And Dixie and I work with children at church, and so we get a lot of church kids out here.
Nice.
So between church and grandkids, we're out here quite often.
When Jack told me that he likes to troll for gills and crappie, I was a bit surprised, but it is a great way to target more water than maybe a normal setup, and it was very effective with just a gulp plastic and a sinker a couple feet in front of the hook.
We're fishing down about 4 feet right now, probably. As the summer progresses, you keep going deeper. You might have to go by the end of August, middle of August, you might have to go as far as 10, 12 feet down.
You just put some more weight on it then? Is that how you get
More
it in?
weight, yeah.
Okay. And how was today? Is today an average day of fishing on this lake, or a good day or a bad day?
Average.
Okay.
Average. The little ones have been quite prominent for some reason today, but like I told you earlier, prior to June, it was just no little fish at all to speak of when you're trolling up here.
Jack just turned 80 years old at the beginning of this year, and when his wife Dixie contacted me to see if I might be looking for a story, we were able to finally get a date on the calendar, and I'm glad I did. Jack is exactly what we like to highlight on the show, a sportsman who is all about getting new folks onto the water, really just making sure that we have folks to carry on this tradition. And I asked his grandkids what they like about this kind of fishing.
Well, it's easy.
Yeah.
The first one, yeah. Catch fish almost every cast, and they're fun to reel in. They're a good fight, and it's really fun being out here, yeah.
Now, did you kind of grow up doing this then? Did your grandpa teach you, or who taught you how to do this?
Yeah, he taught me. I was out here when I was younger, but yeah.
Can you outfish him now, or who does the best?
No, you can never outfish the driver.
And tell me what you like about this kind of fishing.
Just coming out and spending time with friends and family and spend time with Grandpa, and just coming out here, getting away from everything is really nice every now and then. Just a cleansing of your mind, and it's just enjoyable. And Grandpa's brought us up in fun heritage, hunting, fishing, all that stuff.
And then who does the cleaning of the fish? Is it a team effort, or?
Yeah, you all got to do it.
Nice.
Learn young.
Well, at the end of the day, we had about 20 or so keepers, just a perfect amount for a fish fry. We dodged a few raindrops today, but overall, it was a perfect morning of fishing. This lake just felt like you were up north somewhere with no buildings on it at all, and we wound down the morning and packed up and headed in. Jack's house was just a quarter mile or so away, where the assembly line was put in place to quickly make short work of these fish. Jack has this down to a science, and the fish lunch we had waiting for us was worth the trip all by itself. Today was a lot of fun, and thanks to Jack and his wife Dixie for doing what they can to get folks on the water and make sure we have fishermen for years to come here in Michigan's Out of Doors. Well, hey everybody, thank you so much for watching Michigan Out of Doors this week. If you missed part of this week's show or maybe last week's show, you can always check us out online. You can do that through our website, our different social media platforms as well if you want to see what we're doing on a more day-to-day basis. We're also on YouTube. You can check us out there, but make sure you are getting out and enjoying everything that our great state has to offer. And if we don't see you in the woods or on the water, hopefully we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by.
Do you dream of somewhere bigger than your backyard? You can get there with Greenstone. Whether you want to hunt, fish, hike, or just watch the sunset, we're ready to help you own your place in the great outdoors. To learn more, visit greenstonefcs.com.
By Alta Equipment Company, providing sales, rentals, service, and parts because uptime matters. From earth moving to landscaping and light construction, Alta offers over 50 brands across 7 Michigan locations to serve you. More information online or 844-GO-2-ALTA.
Closed captioning provided by Marvo Mineral, makers of Lucky Buck, deer management products including minerals to supplement deer diets year-round to improve health and antler growth.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my